Well, basically, I started out in what they call the Pioneers, which is no longer in existence. They're part of the Engineers. We were in the same regiment as the Engineers anyhow. The only difference, we done mostly pick and shovel work and loading and unloading supplies. Actually, we worked with the Engineers, and if the infantry needed help on the front lines, we ended up there too. Jack of all trades and master of none, I always said.
What would you say is the most memorable day of your service?
Memorable day? I think other than getting home on leave for Christmas for my brother, Peleliu sticks in my mind the most because when we went into Peleliu, we made Cape Gloucester at New Britain first, and then we went to an island called Pavuvu, for a staging area, and there was nothing there but rotten coconuts and coconut palm fronds, and we had to clean all that stuff up, and that was overrun with rats and land crabs. So we had to push that all into piles with caterpillars or crawler tractors. And after we got it all piled together, then we took the leaves off of the palm fronds and used them for clubs and killed rats and land crabs. And then they finally, those piles, they took and put fuel oil around and soaked them in fuel oil and lit them. And burned up the crabs and anything that came out of there we had to kill right away because they were on fire. And then from Pavuvu, then we went to Peleliu, and on board ship, the captain of our outfit, the outfit I was in, he told us how many Marines were, or how many Zaps were supposedly on Peleliu, and how many Marines were going ashore. He said, you had a choice to make. There isn't room for all of us on that island, because the island was 2.5 miles wide and 5.5 miles long is all there was. He said, you're going to have to make up your mind who stays. So we knew what we were doing. They told us when we went in, figured it a week to 10 days. We were there for the 6 weeks of the worst combat we ever hit. Guadalcanal guys said it was much worse than Guadalcanal. And then after Peleliu, then the Guadalcanal guys, after New Britain, half of the Guadalcanal guys went back stateside. And then after Peleliu, the rest of them went back stateside, so it was all new personnel on it. We were the old timers then. And then when we went to Okinawa, I and another guy had supplies, and we were truck drivers, and we had supplies on our trucks that apparently they didn't need right away. So we got to stay on board ship for 3 days. And the other guy, he wanted to get ashore because of kamikaze pilots that were dive bombing their ships. And I said, what the heck are you worried about that for? I said, we got 3 square meals and a dry bunk to sleep in. I said, the captain of the ship isn't any better than you or I if they do get hit. And he wanted to get on shore, and we did get ashore. A couple of good ones.
I felt the heat from that one.
Yeah, I did too. I say 70 years ago I would have hit the deck with that.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyhow, then when we got we got on shore on Okinawa, it was just a walk-in. But about the 4th day is when the infantry hit real opposition, and from then on it just kept getting worse. And I drove the 6x truck hauling supplies, and we were running axle deep mud with all 6 wheels running. One day I changed 3 out of 5 tires, and our spare rack had room for 2, and I changed 2 of them on the road, and the third one, when I came into the motor pool, the third one was on the inside dual, so we had to take that off and then put a full set of new tires on it. It was digging into mud that was filled with shrapnel, and that shrapnel cut the tires. But we were just pushing our way through things and hauling supplies up to the front lines where the guys needed it, and then get back and get ready for another load. So that's what I did on Okinawa. I enjoyed myself on that, on driving truck too.
Yeah.
I drove truck and Jeep, 4x4, and then engineers, when I was in there, I got on heavy equipment, so I had a little experience with that. I got back to the States the 6th of November 45, and that happened to be my girlfriend's birthday, so I called her from Oceanside and told her I was back in the States, and I didn't get discharged till the 23rd of December, and I couldn't get a bus or train to get from California to Minnesota, so I hitched a ride with some guys from Texas because my kid brother was in the Navy at our Navy base in Texas, and I knew that, so I got a ride there, and I spent Christmas with him, and then he got leave, and the two of us came home in a snowstorm on New Year's Eve of '46. We got as far as Owatonna on a train and started hitchhiking, and we got over east of Mankato. There used to be a filling station there, and the guy dropped us off there, and we stood outside for a while, got chilled through, and then we went inside. The place was open, and got inside, and the guy sitting at the counter having a beer, and turned around and called us by name, and anyhow, he says, "What the hell are you doing here?" Well, we said, "We're trying to hitchhike home." He said, "Hitchhike? Hell," he said, "I'll take you." He had a Model A Ford. We fought snow all the way back to Minnesota, to our home place.
So you end up staying there?
Right?
Did you end up staying there then?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, they took me over to my then girlfriend's place, and they just put me up for the night, and we stayed there. And then in March, she and I got married. I took flying lessons on a Aeronautica Champ for several years after I came out, but I couldn't afford a plane, so then I ended up dropping it and just kept on farming. Then when I got rounded out, I ended up, like I said, a truck driver, and then I bought the Caterpillar and went to contracting, and then the state game warden job. I spent 25 years on that. I don't know what else there is.
Any advice you would give young people today?
Well, do the best you can, and hope for the best. Keep on one day at a time. That's all you can handle.
And you might live to be 101.
I say the good Lord isn't ready for me yet. Whatever is coming must be something I got to wait and see.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about it. I don't lose any sleep.
Good.
I go to bed at night and shut off. Wake up in the morning, and then I'm ready for another day.
Yeah.